Yeah, welcome everybody. My name's Hannah Gant. This is the Calm One, Calm All Hangout that we do weekly. Yeah, we're here as part of Calm One, Calm All. Always interested in coming together to talk about grounding practices, kind of new perspectives. Very much believe in kind of a larger shift happening, importance of increasing consciousness to be leaders as this new world emerges. And if you're interested in these matters, then you're definitely aware that today is a very special day, not just because it's the winter solstice, but also the Great Conjunction. And also to welcome LaShawn Spearman joining us to talk about the Zen box, which I think is going to be really cool. So
I feel like this morning I woke up at the first time I woke up was like 5:55 literally in the morning, and I was like, I had this weird anxiety going on. It was just a weird energy where I was like, I'm awake, but I was like, but I don't want to be awake, and I just want to go lay down for a little bit longer. And I tried to lay down for a little while. I woke up around 6:30. And I was like, maybe I should just get up. So I got up and actually did a little meditation for like 15 minutes or so. I didn't really put a timer on. And then I went back to sleep because I was like, I'm still not feeling right. So I'm thinking that it could be all the energy going on right now because I just wasn't able, felt really restless. And then my anxiety picked up a little bit more today than normal. And but I'm feeling better now. And as I was saying a little earlier, like I think I'm gonna do some writing tonight, or at least some, I don't know, just like outwardly word vomiting of my feelings. So maybe that'll help me figure out what's going on, because there's a lot of stuff going on, just like you're saying with the Great Conjunction. So we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But that's been my experience today. A little bit stressful, but I'm hanging in there and making the best of it, knowing that this might be something that's beyond my control.
Yeah, and I also had a similar experience in terms of waking up last night at 3 a.m. and just having a really hard time getting back to bed and just tossing and turning. And I felt kind of anxious, like more kind of thinking about things than usual when I get up in the middle of the night like that. So that was kind of interesting.
And I was telling you guys, that I this weekend I got my tarot cards read, which I really I wasn't planning to do that. I really love doing things like that around the time of these larger kind of macro shifts, like the significance of like the winter solstice. Like today is literally the shortest day of the year. For me, it's like, it feels like it's actually the new year, like more so than like the calendar, trying to be even more in tune with like nature's rhythms and cycles. And so this turning the page of, tomorrow starting to see more daylight incrementally each day. There's some powerful kind of energy underneath that. And so getting the tarot card reading, even though I didn't plan it, it felt synchronistic, because we're all just kind of like trying to read into the tea leaves. And, I don't claim to be any kind of like expert, but I do kind of have an intuitive sense. And I've been sensing that things are going to be kind of like moving into greater ease and joy and fun. And that's kind of what I heard from this tarot card reading. I'm interested about this Great Conjunction.
Yeah. Well, first, I know I did this last Monday when we had a live stream, and that I do have an altar. This is a great time for ritual in regards to just speaking first to this time of year. Right, today is, as Hannah said, the darkest time of the year, the shortest day of the year, and it's really a great time to go inward and to rest and mirror nature in regards to laying fallow and just having this time to reflect and consider. The meaning of the word solstice is it kind of literally translates as the sun standing still. And what is meant by that is that this is a time where the earth and how it's tilted on its axis, it goes from the most extreme, and then it's going to start changing in the opposite direction. So we will feel that energetic shift in these next 3 days. To me, it's almost a big ship that's turning around, that we had all this momentum in one direction, and now we're going to be going in a different direction. So it's really, a great time to just think about this year and maybe how you've been growing and shifting, and to just let everything settle and be, and do some kind of unearthing of what you're discovering. Because once we shift and start to have more light on the planet, things will speed up, and this is a great time to seed new intentions that will then have greater force to come into fruition. I know we can talk about the age of Aquarius and the conjunction happening.
To kind of piggyback off what you just said, one of the things I had, kind of starred is that they were talking about time speeding up more, and we're no longer going to be in this like wait and see phase, which is kind of what we've been in with the pandemic, and no one really knows what's going to happen next. We're just supposed to hold tight and stay safe. And so now that we're in this age of Aquarius, which I believe lasts for a long time, like 200 years, or maybe not 200 years, but it's a long time.
Yeah.
Is it 200 years?
2,000 years.
Oh.
2,150 years.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I was reading about how like 2020 helped us grow by basically forcing a lot of limitations on us. And it was kind of like putting us in these positions where we were forced to grow in a different way. And now that we know what's essential in our lives and what's like most important, to your point, this new transition is going to be a lot more about like creativity and new ways of living, new ways of learning, new ways of building together. And I know for me personally, I've been exposed to a lot of different things I could be doing in my life in the next month or so. And they've been causing a lot of anxiety and also a lot of excitement. It's like, I don't know which way to go next. And one of the things I've been really trying to do is stay focused on my intention. Like, how excited am I getting about this? Or am I feeling anxious? I wrote down a purpose statement this year, and that has really helped me to like also hone in. Because if I'm talking about what I'm going to do next and it doesn't really align with my purpose statement, then to me, that's like, okay, this isn't the right thing for you to do right now. And that's been helping a lot, because uncertainty is not my strength. I'm able to like handle change, and I'm a logical person, so I usually like to assess the situation before I take action. But there's just been like so much uncertainty in my life. So many things have changed, and I feel like I've just been like basically dog paddling, trying to just stay afloat. And so hopefully with this speed up and this more like creative time, it'll really allow me to be able to put all those things together and to kind of like create this new world. I mean, I'm excited, but I'm also like, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people feel that way, and certainly during the quarantine. I mean, I'm excited to meet LaShawn and hear about the Zen box, because I think there's some really great resources there for getting grounded. But
this year astrologically is when Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto have this transformation, kicking off with this great conjunction. When these outer planets aspect one another, it signifies more significant shifts in consciousness, because the outer planets are moving slower, and the room for more huge changes politically, financially, in people's personal realms. We are going to see 7 more planets move in February 2021, kind of moving us further into the age of Aquarius?
I mean, I feel like I've been hearing a lot about how things are going to change. And, you know, even when the Mayan calendar was supposed to run out like 8 years ago, it was like everyone's freaking out about the world ending. And now it's like, oh, just kidding. It's not ending. It's just the new age of Aquarius. And this is just a new way of living. And like, oh, great. Another like new paradigm shift that I didn't need or ask for. But I also, maybe I did need it and I just didn't know it, and maybe this is going to be awesome and I just don't know it yet. But at this moment it's like, can someone just give me a little sneak peek? Like, just tell me it's going to be okay, tell me that, like, you know, everything I'm going to be doing is worth it and that I'm following the right path. Like, because I've been, another thing I've been learning a lot about is like different timelines and different dimensions of energy. So like fifth dimensional energy and different timelines, and how we, as humans, we have all these different timelines that we could live in. And that basically is like the idea that, like, you know, depending on what decision you make from day to day, that could change your whole life. Basically, there's all these simultaneous things that are happening. Another version of you is out there in theory, and like you, who you're destined to be, you will become. It's just a matter of like, depending on what routes you take, might take longer to get there. And so I just, when I think about that, I also just think about some of my personal relationships that I've been in, and it's like, wow, if I wouldn't have taken that route, maybe I would have gotten to where I am faster, or I'm sure there would have been another detour along the way that I would have picked. I feel like, especially since the pandemic, I've been really trying to focus on like, all right, is this like really the best, you know, thing for you to be doing right now? How do you feel about this? And using that like kind of to guide me in my decisions. And it's been working for the most part, except when I feel weird. I'm still adjusting to the high anxiety. So yeah, so speaking of wanting things that can help you be calm, are we ready to introduce LaShawn? Hi, LaShawn.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Nice to meet you. We were just talking about how all these things in our universe that are happening with the pandemic and you know, the age of Aquarius and the winter solstice and the alignment of Jupiter and Saturn for the first time in 2,000 years, you know, causing us to maybe sometimes feel a little stressed out. So I thought that would be a good time to introduce you and the Zen box. So yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey.
Well, first of all, thank you, ladies, for having me. I'm so excited to share my experience with you guys. And it was also listening to what your guys' input. And now I know why I've been waking up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning for the last 2 days. It's like, what's wrong with me? Because I'm a late sleeper. I don't usually wake up until 8, 9 o'clock. But for like the last 2 days, I've been getting up at 4 or 5. And so sometimes you just have to listen to your body and listen to yourself. And I said, okay, well, you're up. Let's be productive. Let's do something with this. You know, obviously there's a reason. Now I understand it now. So it was awesome listening to you guys talk about that. Well, my name is LaShawn Spearman. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. And I came up with the Zen box during the shutdown. So, you know, the pandemic has been, you know, it's here. We have to just live with it. And we need to find a way to decompress. I think it was a lot of anxiety that I was dealing with. It started with me meditating. So in the beginning, I just felt like the walls was closing in on me. So I, you know, started meditating and using that as a daily tool. And I just started incorporating different items as I progressed, because meditation is a personal journey. You take things and you use things that's beneficial for yourself. Once you take the time to really listen to who you are and what you're about and center yourself, you will find that the Zen box or meditating is very beneficial, not only mentally, but physically. So it started with that. And then I started incorporating smudging. And I used to smudge a long time ago, but I've never made my own smudges. So I started making my own smudge stick. Smudging is really just a native ritual that they do to cleanse the air of your negativity. When I'm feeling like I need a pick-me-upper, people really don't understand that sage is really good for you. It improves your intuition. It's a stress reducer. It also has a relaxing effect to it. And it's also a insect repellent, you know, so I use it outside sometime. And actually gives me energy. So I start using white sage, and then I use eucalyptus, and then I use dried lavender, you know, to make it smell very good. And those things also have benefits. And then as talking to other people, people will say, well, how do I start meditating? Or how do I start to, you know, center myself or Zen? So the original name for the Zen box was quarantine. And I sort of changed that because that was what we were in, but that wasn't how I was feeling about everything. So now I'm feeling Zen, and to me it's feeling whole, feeling one. So then that birthed the Zen box. And within the Zen box, you know, you have your sage, and then you also incorporate incense. And I believe that since the smell is very good, it has a candle in it. And then I tell people all the time, when you're smudging, make sure you leave your window open so the negativity can go off doors. But people don't realize that once you finish smudging, you have to bring some kind of positivity back. So I also incorporated sweetgrass. And it really does smell like sweetgrass. Just to show you real quick, it's really just a strand, and it's braided into 3. And the 3 represents your mind, your body, and your soul.
Yeah.
But once you smudge, you know, I sort of come back with the sweetgrass to bring positivity in. I think the Zen box was designed as a one-stop shop. So people, for beginners, and not even just for beginners, for anyone who wants to smudge or who wants to incorporate that into their everyday meditation, because it really needs to be a daily ritual. And I have incorporated that for a while, and I can tell the difference when I'm not meditating compared to the days that I do meditate. So
how long do you usually meditate?
Well, you know, honestly, Ashley, in the beginning, it was like 2 minutes, no joke. I could not settle my mind. And so every day it starts to grow and grow and grow. And right now I can do a good 25 minutes. And I've been doing it since March. So, you know, it depends on the person, the individual, but the maximum I can do is 25 minutes. I would love to get to the area where I can do it for an hour, but 25 minutes is probably the longest I'll, you know, for right now.
And I love what you said about the smudging, because I didn't know. I remember when I was talking to you about this before, I didn't realize that you have to come back with something that brings the positive energy, or else you're just smudging away it's kind of like an antiseptic. It
Correct.
gets all the good germs and the bad germs. And so you kind of have to bring in those good germs back. But I mean, obviously not germs.
Yeah, it's not germs, but I get what you're saying. But yes, the good energy. I mean, you don't have to, but it's just something that I read. And it was just something like, oh, okay, well, that sort of makes sense. You get rid of something, but yeah, you gain something else. I just feel like it's your yin and yang that go hand in hand. So,
yeah.
I love what you're doing, and I feel like there's a lot of people out there that are looking to connect with their inner spirit, but don't really have an idea of how to go about doing so. And I think just making it really accessible, and also having something that speaks to all of one's senses, because meditation and the act of calming and grounding, it is so multifaceted. Mm-hmm. So I think, you know, incorporating sense of smell and in getting calm and grounded helps people kind of have something to begin this journey with.
Correct. Yeah. And it didn't start off that way. It just started off with just my smudgy sticks. And then people were, you know, interested in the next step. So I was like, well, you know, I remember when I first started, I had to get this from here, this from there, if I could just make it a one-stop shop for everyone, then make it simplified. So it won't be because it can seem intimidating. You know, when you first start meditating and it's like, okay, I only can do this for 1 minute. That's okay. You'll grow into, you know, longer time, you know, once you calm your inner self. But I thought that it would be very beneficial to have something where someone can, here's everything I need to start. Definitely you can add on to that, but this is a good starter.
You know, I love this idea also. And I just think it's also just really helpful to have physical objects that you can do something with, that direct your energy into these kind of like inner reflections, these calming practices. It's like, you know, people have like they have like an interest, or they're like, I know I should be, you know, meditating or doing this. and just having some actual things that provide a sense of direction. It's like, okay, I can get out my box, my Zen box, and light the candle, burn the smudge stick, and it invites the thinking. It invites the attention to go in the direction that people kind of might want or know would benefit them, but like it can be hard to get to when you're just sitting there by yourself.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And within my Zen box, sometimes I put a little token of appreciation. Like this one has a rock in it that says dream. So when you can put that on a desk or put that on your dresser and just look at it every day. Everyone say something different. I have a couple different variety of stones, but just to look at it, it could be a reminder. Or the bracelet. It won't come with both of those, but those are just things that I throw in the Zen box as appreciation. And the bracelet, you can look down at it and be like, oh, okay, well, let me go meditate today. Or it could be a calming symbol for you.
This is multicultural. All different cultures have some kind of ritual and some kind of practice that helps them ground and get centered. And so I think us in our modern American lifestyle get so busy running around doing things, and to bring in a sense of ritual like this that can bring forward meditation or stillness. It is embracing a part of our history as humans that also unites us, but also brings us further into our center.
And I think a lot of people are just looking for answers, not yay or nay, but answer with who am I and what is this about? And they're just trying to dig deep down inside, which is awesome, because if you don't know yourself, then no one else knows you.
I do think it speaks to what we were just talking about in terms of this is a transformative time. And I think that younger generations that come forward are helping to move the needle even further. So having tools like this to help them find their inner compass is so essential.
Absolutely.
We have Melanie Jackson commenting in the chat, basically saying that she's just starting out in her early meditation phases and is having trouble staying focused. And one of the things that I asked or suggested was sometimes you can do guided meditations, which is really helpful. And so she also had a question about the feather. What is the feather for in the Zen box?
So the feather is used to wand the smoke from the sage stick. So if you have an object and you want to walk around it, you can use the feather to help bring it up around the person or into the air. So that's what that's used for.
On the Calm One, Calm All website, we have a whole section of resources and blogs and articles about meditation specifically. So we should add Zenbox into that section as a resource.
That would be awesome.
The website also, we've compiled a conscious gift guide. So the Zen box is available for sale on the Come One Come All website. It's got a lot in one tight little box. Looks really nice too, LaShawn.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
There's also an exhilaration that I'm experiencing in regards to, I feel like we are tapping into deeper reservoirs of energy and that we're becoming activated in greater ways. And so, the more people can kind of lean into that and use, resources like the Zen box or, explore yourself in different ways, whether that's through body movement or spending time out in nature or journaling. I think that this is a really great time to really consciously get on that path, because I think that there are more fruits that we can that are there to bear if we are open and willing to walk down that path.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I woke up this morning with social media talking about superpowers, And there was all these like memes about how everyone's going to get a superpower now because it's the age of Aquarius. But at the same time, I also heard a lot of people talking about how like, well, we're not getting superpowers. We're just activating the things that we were already able to doing, like you were saying, Marissa. And it's not that this is something we weren't able to do before, but now it's just a moment when we're being kind of like guided and kind of like awakened. And, you know, as a collective, people are realizing that, you know, I need to live my life a little bit differently or be more in touch with myself. And then as you start to go through that process, you start to realize, oh, I'm a little intuitive. I'm a little telepathic. I'm a little like this and that. I can read people's energies more than I was able to before. So I think that's part of it. I don't think we're going to start like shooting laser beams out, you know, of our hands or anything like that, but something along the lines of just tapping into our natural human capabilities that kind of were pushed aside by society, and Western society in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I look forward to that time where we can shoot out powers from our fingertips. That would be pretty awesome. LaShawn, where can people find your Zen box? Where can people learn more?
I currently have a Facebook page called the Zen Box. Right now, they can contact me on my Facebook page, the Zen Box,
Awesome.
and inbox me.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
LaShawn, it's great to have you. Thank you so much for coming on our show tonight, our Hangout.
It was so fun. It was a pleasure. I was very nerved up, but you guys made it very, very easy to talk. So thank you so much, and peace and harmony to you guys.
Yeah, you as well. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
This is fun. I like doing this. Get to meet all sorts of new people and get to learn about different products that you didn't know about before. And then I think that one of the other fun things is just hearing other people's journey, you know, of how they got to where they are. And it's, even though all of our journeys are a little different, it feels like they're all the same.
Yeah, and I feel, I totally agree. I also feel like we've talked about how, you know, 2020 has been such a hard year, and it has been, you know, in many ways, but I love hearing stories like LaShawn's in terms of the creativity that was birthed with, you know, just things being different and having that time to stop and think about, you know, what can I do differently and what can I birth into the world that can support people. I mean, that I feel like, yes, there's been hardship, but I feel like there's also been amazing stories of people having really, you know, these transformative ideas that are sending out ripples.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's, you know, it's about kind of like trying to set in motion a virtuous cycle. You know, you start exploring and practicing and dabbling in some of these things that, you know, you start with that 1 or 2 minutes of meditation because you're curious, and then you know, maybe you're lighting a smudge stick, but you feel a benefit, and you start to explore other things, and that kind of grounding, it's like, it's good for yourself, but then the ripple effect in the world around you is super powerful. And I think that's part of like what we're really about with this kind of calm one, calm all, unleash that, both that virtuous cycle, but also that ripple effect, because we are living through this this really, really transformative time. It requires a lot more people to kind of like wake up and like grow into themselves and be leaders.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, last night, I thought I had a dream book, but I don't, so I'm gonna have to look it up after this. But I definitely had a dream last night that there was gonna be an earthquake today in the Midwest, which doesn't ever really happen. I think the Mississippi River is a fault line, but it was like a big deal. And like people's houses were like cracked in the middle of them. It happened in the middle of the night, and some people slept through it, but it was like kind of a big deal. And I was waiting to see if something was going to happen like that today, but it didn't. So earthquake must represent something else. Maybe it's transformation, breaking down the walls of society.
Yeah, or I also think there's truth in there being a tectonic shift, that we are going through a major energetic shift that can be thought of like an earthquake.
Again, Happy New Year, you guys.
Yeah, and for any of those out there that need to do some more Christmas or holiday shopping, check out our conscious gift guide. We'll have it going, through January, if not longer, because there's gifts that can be enjoyed too at the beginning of the year as we enter into 2021. There's some cool stuff, including this unbox, that you can check out.
And next week we're gonna have a new guest, Angela, so that will be really exciting. And we will also be having other guests that will be coming on to the Hangout in January as we shift into kind of like a different perspective, not just talking about conscious gifts, but also just, continuing that conversation about how to stay present, how to, awaken your consciousness and all the transformative things that we're talking about. So definitely put on your calendar right now, Mondays, hang out with us, and we will be here. And if you miss us, feel free to check us out on our Facebook page. The video will be posted, and it's also posted on our YouTube page as well. So there's definitely plenty of opportunity to get calm with us.
Always a good time. I'll see you next week, and great talking with everybody who showed up tonight.
Take care.
All right.
Good night.